Be right with you, folks. Okay, folks. Tonight we are discussing for discussion C. We are discussing the cannabis use among elderly people for pain for different reasons. For the medical side of it, but also the adverse effects that it has on people. So yes, people use it for pain, but there's also a bad side to cannabis use. So here we're going to get into that tonight for C. So please join me for tonight's discussion. Okay. The text refers to a recent study conducted at the Research Institute of McGill University Health Center, which suggests that vaping cannabis may pose risks to lung health similar to smoking. The research challenges the common belief that vaping is a safer alternative, showing that cannabis vapor contains toxic substances that could increase the risk of respiratory issues and cancer. One study compared the chemical composition of cannabis smoke and vapor, finding that both contain carcinogens and agents harmful to lung cells. Another study indicated that inhaling cannabis vapor alters gene function in ways associated with stress, immune responses, the cancer, and cancer. These findings highlight the need for further research into health effects of cannabis. Vaping cannabis poses several. Just a minute, guys, I'll get it for you. Health risks, some of which are similar to those associated with smoking. Here are some key concerns. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, lung damage. Studies suggest that cannabis vapor contains toxic substances that can harm lung cells, potentially leading to respiratory issues and increase the risk of cancer. Exposure to carcinogens. Cannabis vapor has been found to contain carcinogens like formaldehyde and formaldehyde and is a synthahide which may contribute to long-term health problems. Alter gene function. Research indicates that inhaling cannabis vapor can alter gene expression in lung cells, affecting immune responses and increasing susceptibility to stress-related conditions. Psychological effects. Vaping cannabis has been linked to anxiety, psychosis, and other mental health concerns, particularly in individuals who use high potency products. Unknown long-term effects. Since vaping cannabis is a relatively new trend, its long-term health consequences remain poorly understood, necessitating further research. These findings challenge the perception that vaping is a safer alternative to smoking and highlights the need for more awareness and regulation. Would you like more details on any of these risks? Okay, folks. Next page. Vaping and smoking cannabis both come with health risks, but they differ in several ways. Lung damage. Smoking cannabis exposes the lungs to tar and harmful combustion byproducts, while vaping may reduce exposure to some toxins. However, vaping has been linked to electronic cigarettes or vaping products use associated with lung injury, a serious condition. Carcinogen exposure. Both methods introduce carcinogen, but smoking produces more carbon monoxide and particulate matter, which can contribute to respiratory issues. Chemical additives. Some vape products contain harmful additives like hold on. Hold on, I'll get the rest here in a second. Vitamin E accelerate, which has been associated with lung injuries. Effectiveness and potency. Vaping may deliver higher concentrations of THC, leading to stronger effects compared to smoking. Long-term effects. While smoking has been studied extensively, vaping is relatively new, and its long-term health effects or health consequences remain uncertain. While vaping often marked as a safer alternative, research suggests that both methods carry significant risk. Would you like more details on any of these points? Vaping cannabis can have several long-term effects, some of which are still being studied. Here are some key concerns. Lung health issues. While vaping is often marketed as a safer alternative to smoking, folks, research suggests it can still lead to chronic respiratory conditions. Okay, so including lung inflammation and bronchitis, cognitive impairment, long-term cannabis use, including vaping, has been linked to memory problems, difficulty processing information, and impaired learning. Mental health risks. Prolonged exposure to high concentrations of THC through vaping may contribute to anxiety, depression, and even psychosis in some individuals. Addiction potential. Vaping cannabis can lead to dependence, especially with high potency products that deliver concentrated THC. Unknown long-term consequences. Since vaping cannabis is relatively new trend, its full long-term effects remain uncertain, necessitating further research. Would you like more details on any of these risks? If you're looking for safer alternatives to vaping cannabis, here are some options to consider. Edibles. Consuming cannabis infused foods or beverages, eliminating lung exposure entirely. However, effects take longer to kick in and can be more intense. In textures, liquid cannabis extracts can be taken bilingually under the tongue for faster absorption, without inhaling smoke or vapor. Topicals, cannabis cream or cannabis infused cream and balms provide localized relief without entering the bloodstream, making them ideal for pain management. Then you have capsules, folks. I'll explain those in a second. Capsule these are pre-measured, folks. Pre-measured cannabis capsules offer a controlled dosage without the risks associated with inhalation. Okay, dry herb vapors. If you prefer inhalation, using a dry herb vaporizer instead of oil-based vape pens may reduce exposure to harmful additives. Now, I realize that people have medical cards giving them, giving them permission for use for pain, but that doesn't excuse the overdosage that people use for. I understand that it's pain, for pain relief, but follow the correct dosage, folks. That's all I'm doing the show for, is to make sure that people understand that it is for medical use and not for recreational. Okay, so that is the intent of this series tonight. But it's affecting aging adults differently, folks. It is affecting the way they handle cannabis use for pain. Like some elderly folks are taking too much in edibles, like taking too many gummies, or maybe ingesting too much chocolate flavored gummies or chews. So I just thought I'd do a show on it tonight for everybody's FYI, because it's different. It interacts differently with people's medications. Now, medical use is different than recreational, but if you overdose in both, if you accidentally take too much, it takes longer to come down off the effects of that. Some people have mood changes when they come off of gummies. Some people have adverse effects. They get very very moody, very let's just put it this way, for camera's sake, it's not healthy to see somebody come down off of gummies. So thought I'd do this show for everybody's FYI. Okay, next page, folks. Edibles. These provide a long-lasting effect, but take more time to kick in. They bypass lung exposure internally, making them a safer option for respiratory health. Liquid cannabis use for medical. Here we go. These offer faster absorption through the bloodstream when taken, subsequently providing a quicker onset than edibles, but without inhalation risks. Topicals. These are effective for localized relief, such as pain or inflammation, but do not produce psychiatric effects. Capsules. These provide a controlled dosage and are similar to edibles in terms of delayed onset and long-lasting effects. Dry herb vaporizers. These reduce exposure to harmful additives found in vaping pens. Okay, let me finish this, guys. Found in oil-based vape pens while still allowing inhalation. Okay, dry herb vaporizers for those, for medical use only. Research suggests that vaping cannabis may expose users to toxic substances linked to lung damage and cancer, while alternatives like edibles and liquid eliminate inhalation risks. Their effectiveness depends on factors like dosage, absorption rate, and individual tolerance. Would you like more details on any of these methods? Okay, guys, so those are shows for now. I might jump back on later and try and do D for you. But until then, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.